some of the magic ingredients that you're looking for when you're coming up with a video. And the very first test that I like to run it by is this test right here, story. And what I mean by that specifically is I want to run it by the, well, I should certainly hope so test. So what I mean by that is if you draw me in with a story, if you have a story from somebody, it could be from the CEO of an organization, it could be from their customer, it could be from anybody, but some kind of story that hooks me and connects me and gets me to watch this thing, then it's going to have a better result as opposed to what I call the features and benefits story. For example, let's say, for example, Pat were to do a video, for example. Let's say he's sitting over here at the AM PM desk and he's got his microphone on and he's ready to do a video. To me, the worst thing that he could do is the services we offer at AM PM. So we do branding and marketing and we help with crisis communications and da-da-da. That's fine and that's good, but that's not great. And so what would be more interesting to me is if Pat were to do this video. The time that I got a phone call, the phone rang, and it's a CEO from a big company in town, and he says, Pat, I've got half the media camped out on my front door. We've got a problem here, and I need you to help us fix it. Well, now I'm hooked. Now there's a story, and it brings me in. It tells me what AM/PM does, or at least one important part of what AM/PM does, but it does it in a way that brings me in and hooks me. So that's what I say, is not doing something where you could have a viewer go, well, I should certainly hope so. I should certainly hope that they're professional. I should certainly hope that they know what they're doing, but instead a little bit more to draw me in. So an example of that, we did a video here in Portland for an organization called IRCO, Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization. And when we sat down at the table with them, they said, Jay and Michelle, we want you to do a video on the history of IRCO. So really, the history of IRCO? Yeah, we're going to put you down, we're going to sit you down, you can do an interview with our CEO, and we want to do a thing on the history. And so we said, okay. And we were kind of scratching our head because that really didn't sound very interesting. So what we did is we went back to that hook of story. We said, what story could he tell that would mirror or reflect what's happening here at IRCO? So this is the first minute of what we did. Take a look and see how we approached it.
Every day, when I come to the IRCO receptions area, I saw people who has either a smile on their face or they had anxiety or concern. I can relate to them all.
This is the battlefield in Laos. These are government troops supported and financed by the United States.
I came from Laos in 1978.
In an obscure corner of Asia. It looks...
We were the first flow of Indo-Chinese refugee to the state of Oregon.
So there he is at that iconic place here in Portland. And so you get the idea. Now we've got something that's bringing us in. It's a hook, and it's going to lead us into the story of who is he and why is he here. And that's ultimately what we're looking for, is who are you and why are you here? This thing is going a little haywire on me. So we did it again in Louisiana for what was called the Community Foundation. And we were looking for a way to tell their story. They came to us and they said, Jay, we want to kind of talk about the culture of who we are and why we're here. This is the executive director, and she started talking to us as we were planning this thing, and she happened to bring up a video, 35 millimeter video, or I guess film footage is what it was, moving film footage that had been taken by a relative of hers of this town that she's in back in the 1920s. And so we said, well, this is interesting. We can maybe take a hook from that and bring it back around to what it is they're doing. And this is what it looked like. I've got like 3 clips that I crammed together in about 1 or 2 minutes, so you can get the idea.
My husband's aunt, back in the 1920s, got a camera for her birthday. I remember Aunt Margaret very vividly. She was our family historian, and she was able to take 8mm film of all of Shreveport during the 20s. The opening of Byrd High School, pictures of the Great Flood of 1927. Many of our community leaders as babies sitting in their mother's lap. It gives you a sense of where we've come from and the people who have had a vision for this community before, and we are a continuation in that process.
You know, the Community Foundation's goal is to be a community savings account, to be a place where you could leave your life savings here when you leave this world in the form of an endowment, and use the income from that endowment to do good things in the community, and not consume that endowment, but to make sure it's there, forever.
Things are changing at such a rapid pace.
Now we're overlaying. These are actual places where the video was taken.
Sometimes they remain the same. We're stewards of the memories, philanthropic legacies of all of the people who've gone before us, and their generosity and what their vision was for this community.
That's the house they were in front of right there.
I feel the warmth of Shreveport. It's a great place to live and raise your children. But I think about the kind of world that I want them to live in, and I want to be a part of making that world better for them. I want this to be a community that they're happy to live in.
We do what we do because we're going to make this place better. We do have that end goal.
This is our home. We all want the same thing. Philanthropy, the love of each other, is what really connects
So,
us.
story, right? This is their story, but it's told through the eyes of this one person who has this deep, deep rooted connection to the community. And that's what brings it all together. We can talk about the features, we can talk about the things that they do, but this is what really gets you emotionally invested into it. So, that's it. That's the first story. And really, I could end this right now because that is the secret. That's it, is story. That is the number one thing. But we've got 7 more secrets. So here's the second one.